Hey everybody, what's going on? KSA Kris here with the Real Estate Blitz. Today I figured I'd have a little bit of fun. We just did a deal, and I know I've been asked a lot of questions about how we structure some of these deals where we present three basic offers depending on what people want. We have a cash program where, either us or an investor will come in and buy a house for cash. We have a renovate to sell program. So basically, we come in, we're going to bring our contractors, renovate their home, no out-of-pocket costs. Contractor gets paid at close of escrow, so there's a structure for that. And then of course just your regular retail deals. I really want to do something like this on we have a giant whiteboard in our conference room, and I forgot my camera this morning, so I figured I would just kind of run through this one and do it on a piece of paper. And I thought it would be good information for somebody that might be watching it, just because I get asked a lot of questions like, how do you structure a cash deal? How do you structure this? How do you structure that? So we literally just did a deal. If you look on the Kim Steele & Associates page, you'll see a photo of the one that's it's getting ready to close escrow right now. And it's a unique deal. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for people to learn. So let me tell you a little bit about this house. We got a phone call. I didn't. It was one of our agents. One of our agents got a phone call. And these people wanted to sell their house. They were thinking about using the renovate to sell program because they said their house is in pretty rough shape. They bought it in rough shape. They weren't sure if they wanted to sell it. They didn't know if they, just as is. They didn't know if they should renovate it to sell it. They didn't know. So the first thing we did after we got their address and everything else is we just basically started running some numbers. So I'm going to write down the numbers, and I'm going to show you the numbers of what we found out on this home. So what we found out as we were researching this house is, in this area, the after repair values, so we call that the ARV, and I'm going to be writing down stuff. The after repair value was, the highest was about $475,000, the lowest is about $425,000. So I'm going to write that down. 475, right? So that was the after repair value, and it looks like, whoop, there we go, that ARV 425 to 475. Now I know that's a big jump. That's a $50,000 difference, and the only reason that lower price was there is that somebody basically put their house on the market and kind of dumped that area a little bit. It could be considered a rogue comp, but it was a pretty freaking solid comp. I mean, so it's hard because we're in a huge upswing market right now. That price could easily adjust by the time we get done with the repairs. Now, in its as is value, let's say we were going to sell it for retail, right? So I'll write down retail value. The retail value actually fluctuated, right? Now keep in mind, we haven't seen the house yet. This is before we ever saw the house. This is just doing research. Retail value could fluctuate from $295,000 to $360,000. $295,000 to $360,000. That's the actual retail value. $295,000 is like, it's just a garbage dump, and it needs to be, it needs a lot of work. $360,000 was, it's okay. It has the original cabinets. It's not in bad shape, but it's not in great shape. It's just a normal home, right? And then we had to sit down and try to, from the retail value and its as-is, potential as-is condition, we need to sit down and kind of figure out, all right, we need to structure a cash deal. If we were to do a cash deal, how would that look? So there's a lot of different maths that are out there. I'm going to pull out my calculator here. You'll hear different people talk about different things when it comes to cash values. Some people go from after repair value, the ARV, and then they will actually create their math. And the typical value that you go for, what I call a home run deal. A home run deal is ARV, right? You're going to take the ARV, and you want to have, you want to be paying about 50 to 60 cents on the dollar. That's a home run deal. And then whatever that is, you're going to pay 50 to 60 cents on the dollar of that after repair value, and then less repairs. So I'll do basic math on something like that real quick. So if I wanted to say that, we'll use 475. 475,000, right? I'm going to pull up my calculator here so I can make sure I give the right math, because the last thing I want is somebody going there like, well, it's actually not that. So 475,000 times point, let's just meet in the middle. Let's say well, let's just do the highest one. So 0.6. 0.6 equals. So you're basically going to be looking at, and I'll show you exactly how that looks, times 0.6. So if I wanted to get, there's 60 total that I'm paying, so that means there's 70, 80, 90, there's 40% equity into the home. So I'm going to do 475 times 0.6, and that equals $285,000. Now, if less repairs, and so let me show you how that basically looks. There it is, 475 times 0.6 equals 285,000. So that's what I would be looking to purchase the home for, less repairs. Now, if I haven't seen the home yet, and this house, it's what is it? It's 1,200 square feet. You will have to learn in your market, wherever you are. If you're watching this in California, if you're watching this in Florida, every market has a different repair value per square foot. But if you're trying to prep for this appointment, I know what our numbers are. We could do pretty much, my guys can do a full gut at about $50 to $60 per square foot, which is, pretty expensive. And then a light lipstick job is going to be about $15 per square foot. What I'll usually do before I walk into a place, and I said this is a 1,200 square foot property, right? So it's a 1,200 square foot property. What I normally would do is say, well, just so I have a basis of understanding, I'm going to look at this property and say $25. So I'm going to say $25 per square foot times 1,200 equals. That's going to give me a $30,000 potential reno cost, right? So the math on that, and I'll write that down on here as well, it's the square footage times the dollar amount, and on this one I said $25, and that's going to give you a $30,000 estimated renovation cost. So if the money that I wanted to pay was $285 for a home run deal, keep in mind, minus $30,000, I would be looking to purchase this home. So I'm going to write this down. $285 minus $30,000 equals $255,000. That's what I would actually be trying to look to purchase this home for. It's $255,000 if I was paying in cash. Now, because of the market that we're in San Diego, it's going to be a little bit different, and people are willing to work on a little bit of a tighter margin. I mean, there's not a lot of inventory. So let's say 475 is my ARV. 475, right? I'm actually going to do a times 0.7 or 0.75. Some people are willing to go up to 0.8. It just depends on the spread. Because off of this number, right, if you looked at 285, 285 minus a $30,000 repair, I'm purchasing at $255. So let's say it's been repaired, and when it's all said and done, I'm actually into this thing $285,000. There's a huge spread there. You're basically saying $475,000 minus $285,000 equals $190,000 gross. Now that's not including holding costs. It's not including a lot of other things, but still, that's a freaking, like I told you, a home run deal. Home run deal on a basic property. Because there's $190,000 there if we actually purchase the home in cash on something like that, that's fantastic. But a lot of people are willing to work on a smaller, tighter budget. So let's go ahead and change that math a little bit and say $475,000 times 0.75 equals. That's $356,000. So I'm going to write that down for you so you can see it real quick. So ARV is $475,000 times 0.75. So what we're looking for, 75 is basically saying 75, 85, 95. So there's 25% equity into that home, right? That equals $356,000, 250. There it is, right? So there's the math. Less repairs, which we said, estimated right now is $30,000. So minus $30,000 for repairs equals $356,000. and 26,250. So that's basically how we would look to potentially structure a cash deal. So we walk in, we have these numbers. We know, if this thing is repaired, it could cost about $30,000, $35,000 to renovate and repair your home, and it would be worth, anywhere from $425,000 to $475,000. We also know in its as-is condition, it could be worth $295,000 to $360,000. Now this is before we ever meet this person. So we show up at the house. We have all these numbers. We're able to say renovate to sell. We're able to talk about cash. We're able to talk about just listing it as is and put it on the market. And the big thing is just listening. Not enough agents want to sit down and just listen. What are you trying to accomplish? And sometimes I'll just boldly ask, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you want? So as we were talking to this client, they basically told us, look, our son graduates in March, April, May, June 7th. Our son graduates June 7th. And we want to be out of our house. We want to be gone. So we sit down, we start talking to the guy, and we're like, well, here's what we could do. If we list it as is, after looking at the house, it's not worth $360,000. Honestly, in its as is condition, it was probably worth about $330,000. So I did the basic math for him. $330,000. And agents, you should know how to do this. $330,000, and if we were going heavy, we're going to minus 8% for closing costs and everything else. It's about $26,000. That's going to leave you at about $303,000 of total net profit, and that's estimated. That's not a truth. It's just potentially what you could get. So he says, okay, you want to be gone on a specific day. What are you trying to accomplish? He says, well, I want to have cash. I need about $150,000 cash. In order to purchase my next home, I want to pay for it in cash, and I want to have a little extra money. Now, they owe $100,000 on this house. A little over $100,000, but close enough for jazz. And he says, okay, well, if we listed it and sold it, that's what we could potentially look to get, about $303,000. He says, okay, what about if we do the renovate to sell? I says, well, after walking through your house, it's confirmed. I think it's about a $30,000 to $35,000 rehab that's going to have to take place on your house. There are a couple things that concern me, but honestly, until we have the contractor out there, we don't know what the true price is. Now, what I will say is we did get the contractor out there, and he did confirm it was $30,000, $35,000 for a renovation. And I says, here's the thing. It's going to be about 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks of renovation, and we're going to have to move a few walls, and we're going to have to gut the kitchen, gut your bathroom. So while we're going through this process, do you have somebody you can live with? Or we could kind of work piece by piece, but there's going to come a time where you can't use your kitchen. There's going to come a time where you can't use your bathroom because you only have one bath and a toilet. We need to make it a 2-bathroom house. And they said, yeah, I'll be honest with you, even though there's a lot of extra money to be made there, we're really not interested in waiting for a rehab that's going to be a month and then letting our house sit on the market for another month and then not getting our cash for another month after that. So it's a 3-month turn. So you have to keep that in mind. A renovate to sell program for his house was a 3-month turn. 1 month for renovations, 1 month estimated on the market to let it, and it could sell faster. It could sell in a day or two. But median days on market, days on market was 30 days. If somebody comes in, once they say, here's my offer, unless it's a cash offer, they're going to say, I want a 30 to 45 day escrow because of where we are right now. So you're looking at 3 months before you actually get your cash. You're going to have to, and let me tell you, they have a lot of stuff. So in order for us to sell your home, and I was very honest with them, all of the stuff in the front yard, cars, they have like a lot of cars, your mobile home that's on blocks, your, stuff, all of your stuff that's out front, it has to be gone before we actually list and sell it. And we're going to have to do some landscaping. And he's like, okay, so I'm going to be paying storage fees somewhere for 3 months. I have to move all this stuff before you can even really start. That may not be an option for us. Look, I want to. Chris, listen to me. I want to be out of here next month. I says, okay. Well, let's look at a cash deal. I just told him, and I did the math for you a second ago. 326 could be a potential number. Now, you have to understand that we also have to go to an investor and tell them, so let me tell you some of the other challenges. They want their cash now. He's like, is there a way I can get my cash now and then move next month? Well, 326 is probably the number in cash. But if somebody's going to have to carry the cost for an extra month, 326 probably won't be the number. So let's do math. So we did. We sat down and did math, and we came up with a potential offer for $315,000. Now, if you remember the math I did on the retail deal, if they listed their property for what it was worth in its as-is condition, it's worth in its as-is condition $330,000. A cash investor would be willing to pay up to about $325,000, $326,000. So there's very little difference. And if you look at closing costs, it may make better sense. They're going to net more money by going with a cash investor. But because of their particular situation, you want to close in 10 days. You want cash and you want to have the money right now. Well, here's the thing. Now the price is probably about $315,000. What do they say? We agree. Chris, let's do it. This makes better sense because at the end of the day, you told me if I listed it and sold it for $330,000, I was only getting maybe $303,000. So I'm actually making more money. Great. So we ended up structuring a cash deal. The way that we structured it was we brought in somebody. Now, for the people that are out there that want to learn wholesaling, here's an opportunity. I just told you, somebody would be willing to pay about $320,000 to $325,000, $326,000 for that home. If we set it up to $315,000, if you were looking to wholesale it, you could say, I got it at $315,000 under contract. I'm going to turn around and sell it for $10,000. I'll sell it for $325,000. Well, now you just made a $10,000 wholesale paycheck in 10 days. And then if you're a listing agent, you could turn around and list that property later on down the road. Now, we don't do that. We have our own processes here. But long story short, that is a basic deal structure for this deal. It was a unique deal. So I'll show you the three different options. Like I said, it could have been worth ARV $425,000 to $475,000. Because the market's adjusting, I think it'll end up going on the market at about $450,000. I think that's what it'll sell for, and it'll sell for within 30 days. Its retail value was $295,000 to $360,000. After seeing the home, it was only worth $330,000. A cash deal from looking from ARV. Now, I can talk about something a different time. I personally like to, if I'm purchasing in cash, I personally like to purchase from its as-is condition. There's a difference, right? But this is different. It's a different type of deal. We're lining this up for an investor to come in and pay cash potentially. Its cash value was estimated to be at about $326,000. So all that was is basically taking the ARV less 0.75, less repairs, right? So 475 times 0.75 minus $30,000 for repairs puts you at 326. Now that can adjust right or left, but long story short, there's still a lot of profit. Let's say we sell it for $350,000. So somebody's into this property, $315,000 to begin with, plus $35,000 for rehab. They're into the property $350,000. That leaves $100,000 worth of gross profit to the person that purchases, renovates, and sells that property. And in return, because we structured the deal and helped set it up, we got a new listing that's going to be a turnkey quick sell in Vista. So that is my quick down and dirty deal structure. If you have any questions on a deal structure, I'm probably going to do this like once a month because we get a lot of different deals like this. I'm going to do this once a month. Hopefully next time I do it, I have the big giant whiteboard so I can sit there and like actually run with it instead of on a piece of paper. And if you have any questions, hit me up. Do me a favor, go check out the YouTube channel. You can type in the Real Estate Blitz in YouTube. You can type the Real Estate Blitz into Google and it'll pop up. Go check out the Real Estate Blitz on Facebook. And pretty soon I'll be standing up on Instagram. And very soon we're going to be doing the Real Estate Blitz on a podcast as well. I'm just kind of lining up a couple more affiliates to cover all the costs because I want it done a specific way. But outside of that, if you got questions, hit me up. KSA Kris, appreciate you. Have a good one. Hope this deal structure class helped you out.